Hi, welcome to Heart of Gold. I am Paul Chartier. We have the pleasure of having on Eddie Gran, head football coach of the offensive coordinator. Is that true? Something like that?
Sounds good.
Okay, you just got a promotion maybe.
That's right, it sounds good on the card.
Maybe it'll matter to the paycheck too. Well, thanks for coming in. I know you're busy. First of all, you've been to Lexington a year or so, and how are you liking Lexington?
It's been probably a little bit more than what I thought, just fantastic. The community's been great.
Good.
Getting around last year was kind of running around with my head cut off, but now I'm getting to know Lexington a little bit better and just trying to get involved in the community, and it's been fantastic.
This town, you have to almost go out of your way to become anonymous. It's very easy to get involved. And when you came down from Cincinnati, I believe it was, I read your bio, all this coaching and all over the country in Florida and Florida State, all that kind of good stuff. Then I got to the bottom and I saw the Sidney Gran Foundation, and that like froze me right there. Your purpose may be football, but I would venture to say your purpose as a father and a dad far surpasses what football does to your life.
There's no doubt about that. When that little angel came into our life, Sidney Gran, she was born with a rare brain disease called holoprosencephaly, HPE for short, and just the brain stopped growing in the first 3 months of the pregnancy.
Now, where were you living at the time, and how many years ago was that?
Auburn, Alabama, back in 2004.
And Sidney was born in what month?
July.
So
I'm sorry, yes, July.
So, and you got how many other kids?
3 girls, 3 other girls.
Were they older than Sidney?
They were, all of them except Lucy. Lucy hadn't been born yet.
Okay.
So she didn't know Sidney very well.
Is she the one living in Lexington right now?
That's Dylan.
Okay.
Dylan is here with me, and then Lucy lives with her mother in Auburn, Alabama, and
Okay.
then I've got one that's a flight attendant in San Francisco.
Like you need the points.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a great benefit.
So I'm trying to frame this. Born in July, you were deep into football at that time?
Just getting ready to. We were getting ready to get started with our summer camp, new season, and you leave Ole Miss and you come into Auburn, and you're really kind of thinking that you got this world and everything under control.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it really was just kind of a God thing that he took a hold of me and said, guess what, we've got some other plans for you. And we took her to Children's Hospital because she just wasn't breathing right. Something wasn't wrong.
Right out of the gate?
Right out of the gate.
Okay.
We knew. Pediatrician wasn't quite sure what it was. Smaller head, trouble breathing. And we went to Children's Hospital in Birmingham, and that's when she was diagnosed. And it's pretty humbling when somebody gives you a 3x5 card with this long name on it, and you ask the question, will she ever talk? Will she ever walk? And the answer was no, and she probably had about maybe 2 months to live, and she lived almost 6 years.
Like you said, you've got the world by the tail. You're ascending in the football world, and when tragedy affects a person, a family, everything stops, as you well know.
It does. Everything stops, and you got to go one way. You choose flesh or you choose faith. And we decided to choose faith. And I was kind of a fence guy. I was a fence rider. I just kind of really didn't know where I was with my faith, and she just rocked my world and changed my world for the good. I now have salvation. I now know where I'm going. But she's made me a better coach. She's made me a better person. I just look at things so much different because she was such a courageous little girl. And
she lived
6 years.
So she was born in 07, July. You knew out of the gate something was going on. And then what? I mean, how did you manage the early years?
Well, really her mom, it was a full-time job. I would come help when I could.
And how did it manifest itself? Was she functioning as...
No, I'm talking full time. She had breathing machines. She had seizures all the time. You couldn't manage her temperature, and so there was a lot of problems. So we spent a lot of times at Children's Hospital. I can't tell you how many times where they said you need to say your goodbyes, and she just fought through it, and she just battled, you know, and through those 6 years, you know, as you change, you know, scoring points wasn't such a big issue in my life anymore. It was a job. I knew what my job was, and it was very important. But man, when you walk out of a game, and I'll never forget, it was a Mississippi State game, and we were up by like 17 points with 4 minutes left in the game, and we lost. And I came out thinking that I was going to feel sorry for myself, like most of us do. And my daughter was having a seizure. And I picked her up, and from then on, I just am not gonna, you know, try not to act that way. And you bring work home, and you learn those things, you know. But you know, when your child's having a seizure in your hand, it just puts things in perspective, you know. And I think that's what God wanted Sydney to do for me, because I would take things home, and I was not good sometimes.
The nature of your job, it's all in. And you've heard of coaches, we all have, that spend the night and, you know, take it to an extreme that most of us cannot even understand. And I know from talking to parents that have lost children that you would give everything back that you have to have 5 more minutes with her. There's
no question.
Yeah.
And part of, you know, when coaches do that, and they do spend the night in the office and all that, they've either got too much in or they're wasting a lot of time. Again, that's my opinion. You know, when I took this job, is because I know Mark Stoops is a family man. I know what he's about. I know what Bob Stoops is about. I know how the Stoops people are, and people that have worked for them. That was very important when I came here. Tommy Tuberville was fantastic when I was at Auburn. I mean, I would be at practice and they'd come get me, and I'd have to go to Birmingham. Never blinked an eye. And those were the people that I wanted to associate with. Those are the people that I wanted to be around.
Tell me more about Sydney.
Sydney was, you know, because she couldn't walk and talk, what they told us, she did. She got to say a few words. She did some things that only the family got to see, and the smiles and sitting up for the first time. All those things were unbelievable. We as a family, I think my girls especially, you know, they got to grow up, and they probably had to grow up too fast. You know, they had to use the suction machine. They had to see stuff that they
learn words that they shouldn't have to know.
That's exactly right. And but what was cool is that we took Sydney everywhere. She was in a wheelchair, and you know, she would throw up a lot, and you'd have to I mean, and some people don't know how to deal with that. My girls do now. So when they see somebody that might not be right, man, they're the first people in there. They're helping. And you know what? I think that's a good thing for young people to be able to have that in their soul.
Absolutely, and it probably helped the flight attendant, based on the things that she sees. On the things that she sees every day.
There's no question. But my girls, their hearts are different. Just how they treat people.
Again, you've lost a child. People can choose their path and how they mourn, and there's no book. People can mourn whatever way they want, and that's okay. If they want to go dark and be hermits, if that's what they want to do, that's their choice. You have found a faithful path.
I have, through a couple of things. One, had some really good people in the football profession, like Aaron Hogue here, who was with our FCA. Chet Williams with us at Auburn, just kind of led me to Christ. And yeah, really, at the end of the day, I got on my knees, and it's very humbling, and I had never done that before, and I really just asked him to take it. I kind of figured out what faith was. I knew where I was going, and it's pretty cool to be able to let all of that go. I don't know how people do it, because I do it with my job too. It's difficult, and people don't like me sometimes because you don't score enough points or you don't win. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm doing my best for this university, just like I'm doing the best as a dad. But you know, you do your best as a parent, and you got to go somewhere. If you don't, you do go dark. And I don't know how people do it. I did. I chose faith, and it's changed my life. And then FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, my family has gone 16 years in a row up at Black Mountain, North Carolina, and that's changed my life.
Great things have happened as a result of an unimaginable tragedy. And the Sydney Gran Foundation was started to benefit children's hospitals. And now with you at UK, what is happening between Sydney Gran and UK?
Just kind of teamed up with Coach Stoops, kind of Kentucky football in Children's Hospital. My daughter that's with us, Dylan, she worked at Children's Hospital last summer, internship. And so I'm just, anytime I can promote Children's Hospital, I do, because we spent a lot of time there. I know the Hall of Champions is being done right now over here, and they're finishing that renovation. And just in 1 year's time, the money that they've raised and what they're doing at Children's Hospital is so awesome. If people have not gone over there to see that, the color, these kids now when they come in, it's totally different. And as a parent, I know how important that is. When those kids come in with these issues, that's important to see a lot of great people that are happy and energy, and then but just the colors, you know, and those types of foundations, what Coach Stoops has done, that foundation, and so I'm just along for the ride. I've been there, I know it, and I think they're doing a fantastic job here at UK, and they still need help.
I think there's a humility that Mark has, that in the people that I know that he's hired have that same humility, and you're one of them, that it's not about you, it's about what you can do. And I think we've got the phone number and website for UK, that if people are touched today and want to do something to benefit the children at the hospital, they can go online or they can call up and make a donation. Because Eddie, you're right, the impact that they make on kids and families is simply amazing.
It really is. You know, we started using some of those monies too, you know, when we were in Birmingham. I was able to, you know, maybe get a hotel room, or I was able to, you know, be able to go down to the cafeteria and eat. And, you know, you can use now, some of these monies go to people that didn't have electricity for the winter months. They needed a ramp because they couldn't hold their child anymore because he got too heavy. So many different things, just vouchers to get something to eat when the Ronald McDonald House is full. Where do you go? You know, and so I just think there's so many different ways to help families that really need it.
In closing, again, you've taken a tragedy and you've done something positive, and it's not because you have to do it, you want to do it. So for the journey that you've been on, everybody, it's a heartfelt, we're sorry that you've had to go through that, but a thank you for where you are right now to benefit the hospital and really yourself as well.
Mostly myself. She gave me just a great gift.
And you're a gift to us. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you. I'm Paul Chartier. We'll be right back on Heart of Gold.